Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in. Playing against this team of Equalizer War, and this is the first team I'm playing against. If you guys haven't noticed by now, I've been, I've been trying to pivot when I play wars. Like it's just to me it became boring to just explain the way I move tiles and whatnot. Just people know how to move tiles. You just have to think about it, and I just got bored of doing it. I think most of the people who view me, they have been playing the game for a while now. It's not, they're 99% not new players because, the game has not been gaining any players anyway. But that's why I haven't been doing much commentary in terms of gameplay because it's just, you know, I don't think I'm adding any value anyway. It's just more of an entertainment more than anything. I do, if you see my channel, I do some summoning videos, which are not as much as it is before. I've been doing less and less of those just because I'm not spending money anymore. Like, I might spend once in a while, but I'm definitely not spending as much as I used to do. Anyway, there is this new, I wouldn't say new, it's been more highlighted in the media. And, I am a curious person. Like, I like to read a lot and I like to watch documentaries all the time. That's one of the things that I do in my free time. And, one of the things that I've been seeing more and more of is, you might have noticed the recent rise of this is what they call dinks or dual income, no kids. Like people are not having kids the way they used to. And you can see in every nation, the West and the East, there is a decline in birth rates. And I was just watching this mini documentary in CNBC talking about the phenomenon dinks. And this was, believe it or not, I mean, I think a lot of people know this is not something new. It's just been more highlighted recently because, the existence of social media like Twitter and Instagram and all that, people want to go viral anyway. And that's, one of the things that came up recently. And people started promoting this lifestyle. And, people have had divided reaction to some of these videos. And, you see people, some people, started shaming those people who didn't have kids, calling them name and shaming them and calling them selfish and all that. And, some people supported that lifestyle. And I think you can guess which is which because, the people who are not having kids, they probably are ones that support the people that don't have kids. And the ones that had kids, they want people to have kids. It's just, it's just common that, you gravitate towards people that do the same thing that you want to do and, stay away or shame. You tend to shame people that don't agree with your beliefs. And, what I mean, my view on this, like I am someone that doesn't have kids yet. And it's not that I'm opposed to kids, but I do think that you have to have some sort of readiness to have kids. And I understand that most people don't because they just jump in and they say, well, there is no right time. And I do agree with that somewhat. But I do think that you have to have the desire and you have to do certain things in life. Or at least if you want to do some certain things in life that you can't or it's more difficult to do when you have kids, then by all means, go chase it. But just realize this, that, believe it or not, there is a big lie that's promoted is that don't worry, you have time, you can do it at any time, which is plain wrong. Like, it's just, this is a wrong idea of approaching it. And just to say, like, there is a timeline where you can't have kids, or at least it becomes way more difficult to have kids because, you look at it from your perspective now, whether you're in your 20s or early 30s, and you're like, well, I can wait until my 50s to do, to have kids. And, I'm talking about specifically about men because as women, they have a timeline where they can do it before they undergo menopause. I mean, once they reach their 40s, I mean, they have less than 5% chance of having kids if they didn't freeze their eggs and whatnot. And even with freezing eggs, it has its own downside, and chance of getting pregnant with that is not that high as well. But yeah, I mean, you see a lot of guys talking about, they can't afford kids, or they don't want to have kids. They want to travel and do a lot of stuff before they settle down. And there's nothing wrong with that. You just have to realize that there's a timeline even for guys. Not that they can't have kids. I mean, I don't know if you know that Al Pacino had kids in his 80s. I mean, it's still possible to do kids, to have kids later on in life, but it's just, how are you going to raise your kids, and how are your kids going to grow up with you being, geriatric? You know what I mean? And I know one of my acquaintances who had kids in his 40s, and he was just telling me how it's exhausting. Like, it's just very exhausting having it. So, you just have to bear in mind that you're gonna burden your partner more if you had kids later on in life, because you're just not gonna have enough energy for them. And the other thing to keep in mind, and this is true for people who are single for a while, and at least I'm talking about myself. Once you get older in life, you just become more comfortable being single. And the older you go, the more it's harder to change your lifestyle. Just because, you got adjusted to a certain lifestyle and you don't want to give it up, especially if you're enjoying your life. And, this is one of the downsides of not considering other things in life. But getting back to the topic of having kids and why people are not having kids, the biggest reason is obvious. I mean, you're talking about financial reasons, although I've seen one documentary that talked about this trend of people, or birth decline, and I think it's Norway, either Norway or Denmark, one of them, had specific incentives for people, for women to have kids, because they get some sort of tax return or something. And I know in Hungary, if I'm not mistaken, if you have more than, I don't know, 4 or 5 kids, then you're exempt from personal taxes, or from income taxes or something like that. And they noticed that even in those countries, birth rate has declined. So, even though money is a contributing factor, it's not the only factor. There are other things other than money. Whether we become so about ourselves more than anything, and people want to prioritize themselves and needs before kids and whatnot. And I mean, you can't mask the fact that kids do put a dam on your social life and whatnot. At least until they grow older, because if you want to take specific vacations and whatnot, it becomes more expensive, and a lot of people can't afford it. And even if you take them, there are a lot of places that you can't go to when you have kids. You're kind of limited to the places you can go to, which people, some people find, that's fine to go to these places and whatnot, but a lot of people don't. Or think that it's going to change their life dramatically, especially when they get older and get kids older, or think about getting kids older. So It's a tough situation, and the repercussions are going to be hard in the future because you need people to move the economy, and you need people to support the older population. You need people to treat you. You want to find health care, and whatnot when you get older, and it's just going to be tough. I mean, they need to um, they need to make policies and find solutions to this problem because in 2 generations, it's going to become a really big problem. And I just don't know what's going to happen. I mean, we adjust as human beings, and, we might get to a point where, I don't know, I mean, we turn into a Terminator. If you've watched Terminator, where we were replaced by robots just to fill out the need because people are more comfortable being by themselves more than ever. And, it's just the way it is. So, I don't know. It's a big topic, and, as you can see, I got my ass kicked and more. But I'd like to hear you guys' thought about this. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.